For more on the impact of the smartphone and what the future looks like, I'm joined by Rebecca Fannin, live from San Francisco. She's the founder and editor of Silicon Dragon Ventures. Welcome, Rebecca.
Thank you very much.
So we've come quite a long way. First it was the telegraph, then the telephone, then the pager, then the early cell phone, and now, of course, the smartphone. So for better or worse, where do you think communications technology is headed in the future?
Well, I think the smartphone will become much more a part of our lifestyle than it is today. We're seeing super apps that have been developed where you can get food delivery, restaurant tips, dates, news, games, e-commerce hints, shopping. These are all coming into super apps today. An all-in-one app that can surround you with all kinds of services, travel bookings. So I do think the smartphone is just becoming more and more a part of our lifestyles.
Now let's take a look back. Obviously we had mobile phones, but then we had the introduction of the iPhone. How did that change the cell phone industry back in 2007, and why was it so effective?
Well, I think it's so effective because the cell phone is something that is portable, it's personal. People really become attached to their phones and they personalize them. They don't go anywhere without them. They don't go to the bathroom without them. They don't go to sleep without them. They wake up in the morning, the first thing they do is check their smartphone and before going to sleep. It's really just become a portable device. It goes everywhere with you, like a part of your body.
And why was Apple in particular, the iPhone, such a game changer?
Well, I think the iPhone introduced services such as music and games along with the iPhone, so that it made it so that it was hard to put down. It became an entertainment source as well as a news source and a search source and a way to communicate. So more than just communicating phone to phone with the person to person, it really became almost like a media outlet.
Now, as with any tool, it really is about how we use it. And there's been a lot of criticism about smartphone addiction becoming a problem, especially among young people. What is it about the design of the smartphone that's really causing that addiction?
Well, I think it's these services like games are very, very popular with young people. People on the subway, young people on the subway, or you just see them playing one game after another. You see the short video apps like TikTok is very, very popular among young people, and that's a mobile app. So I think it's really these entertainment services that are causing people, young people in particular, to go on and want to share their lives with other young people. It's a way of sharing that we never had before.
And how are parents and companies reacting to this screen and smartphone addiction?
Well, I think that some parents are limiting the time that their children can play on and communicate on their smartphones. They're limiting the number of hours, the times a day. It's just like when television came in, that was also considered addictive, and parents were limiting their time on that now. But now the TV has really become incorporated into the mobile phone, so it can be difficult to put down.
So do you see the sort of mindset around smartphones going the way of television? Will it just become a norm now that it's becoming more accepted?
Becoming more extensive?
Becoming more accepted in terms of the amount of time we spend in front of our devices.
Oh, yeah, sure. I mean, this has definitely become an issue that is talked about, particularly for preteens and teens and young people in their early 20s who grew up on the mobile phone. They've never known a life without the mobile phone, without the smartphone. And so it's easy for them to just consider it a way of life.
Now, these devices were obviously created to connect us more, but are smartphones making us better or worse when it comes to meaningfully connecting with each other?
Well, this is true. I think there's no substitute for face-to-face communication. And if you look at the number of events and the number of networking receptions and community gatherings that are going on and how well attended they are, I think it just shows that there's really no substitute for face-to-face communication, and that people actually long for that. That being online constantly and not really knowing the other person, and it's a good way to stay in touch, but it's not really the kind of deep companionship that the society needs, I think.
Rebecca Fannin there, founder and editor of Silicon Dragon Ventures. Thanks so much. Well, for more on our special segment on smartphones, head to america.cgtn.com and click on the Global Business tab. Select By Design from the drop-down menu and see more stories about everyday things that shape the way we live and work.